My name is Vicky Hottinger. I'm 33 years old, and last Thursday was supposed to be my 5th wedding anniversary. Instead, it became the night my husband confessed he was in love with someone else, and I let him think it was his idea. We were sitting in our favorite Italian restaurant, the one where we celebrated every promotion, every birthday, every milestone that used to mean something. The candlelight made everything look softer than it really was. Across from me sat Andrew, my husband of 5 years, smiling too wide, fidgeting with his fork like it was his conscience. Beside him sat Bianca Rivera, his work friend, and her fiancé, Michael Ross, though I already knew the truth. 11 days before that dinner, Andrew left his iPad at home. I wasn't snooping. A notification just popped up while I was reviewing a project blueprint. Bianca, can't wait to hold you again. I remember freezing the cursor, blinking on my laptop like it was counting seconds of disbelief. I told myself it was a misunderstanding, but my curiosity turned into dread. I checked. There they were, 3 months' worth of messages, photos, even plans for how they'd live together after Vicky's bonus season. I didn't cry. I didn't throw things. I just took notes. I moved quietly, transferred half of our joint account, $23,000, into a new one, canceled subscriptions, rerouted my salary, consulted a lawyer. If Andrew was planning his exit, I'd build mine first. So when he suggested a group dinner for our anniversary, Bianca and Michael should come. It'll be fun. I smiled. Perfect. Let him walk into his own confession surrounded by witnesses. That night, Bianca kept brushing Andrew's arm, laughing too loud, glowing like someone who believed she'd already won. Michael looked uneasy, like he could sense the air was wrong. Halfway through appetizers, Andrew cleared his throat. Eve, I need to tell you something. I set my glass down slowly. Go on. He swallowed hard. I've been seeing someone else. I'm in love with her. I want a divorce. Bianca's smile faltered. Michael's jaw tightened. The clinking of glasses around us stopped. I took a sip of wine, met his eyes, and said softly, I know. Andrew blinked. You what? I've known for 11 days. Since you left your iPad open to Bianca's messages. The ones where she called me Clueless Vicky. Bianca's face drained of color. Michael turned to her. Slowly, his voice trembling. You've been sleeping with my fiancé. Michael, I cut in before she could spin it. I have screenshots, dates, photos, messages about how you'd leave me once my bonus came through. I looked at Michael. Would you like me to send them to you? He pushed his chair back, shaking. 3 months, Bianca. While we were booking our venue. Bianca's lip quivered. It wasn't like that. Andrew tried to interject Vicky. Please, this isn't the time. It's the perfect time, I said quietly. You chose the restaurant, remember? Bianca stood her napkin slipping from her lap like a white flag. I can explain, Michael. He threw a handful of cash on the table and stormed out. She ran after him, leaving her purse behind. The door slammed. Silence filled the space they'd polluted. Andrew stared at me speechless. You knew. Every detail I said, my voice steady, including the part where you'd leave me after you got your year-end bonus. Sorry about that, by the way, you might need it now. His brow furrowed. What do you mean? I withdrew my half of the savings, canceled your car insurance, moved my direct deposit, and filed for divorce. His face went white. You can't just... I can, I interrupted. And I did. Legally, too. My lawyer made sure of it. He leaned back in his chair, breathing unevenly. Where am I supposed to go, Vicky? I tilted my head. I assumed Bianca's place. Oh, wait, she lives with her fiancé. Or used to. He stared at me, realization breaking him apart. This is cruel. Cruel, I echoed softly, is lying in my bed while texting another woman about how stupid I am. I just returned the favor with better timing. I stood placing a few bills beside the untouched dessert. Happy anniversary, Andrew. As I walked out into the cold night, I didn't look back. The sound of his breath catching behind me was enough closure for one evening. When I woke up the next morning, my phone was full of missed calls from Andrew, from his mother, Gloria, even one from an unknown number that turned out to be Bianca's fiancé, Michael. I ignored the first two, but I called Michael back. His voice was hoarse. I just wanted to say, thanks for not letting me marry her. I paused, unsure whether to feel victorious or hollow. You didn't deserve that kind of betrayal. Neither of us said much else, just two strangers bound by humiliation sipping silence through the phone line. Before hanging up, he added, for what it's worth, you handled it like a damn queen. I didn't feel like one. But it was something. That day I went to work early. My mind was clear, too clear. I threw myself into drafting plans for a new architecture project as if redesigning a building could somehow rebuild my trust. By noon, I'd almost forgotten the chaos waiting outside. Then the elevator opened, and there stood Gloria in her signature pearls and judgment. Behind her, Andrew looked like a scolded child. Vicky Hottinger. Gloria snapped, storming toward my desk. You're going to fix this right now. I blinked, then looked at my assistant, who was already halfway to calling security. It's fine, Emma, I said calmly. I'll handle it. Fix what exactly, I asked. This ridiculous divorce nonsense, Gloria said. Andrew made a mistake. A 3-month mistake, but still a mistake. He's sorry. Andrew stood silent, staring at the floor. I leaned back, folded my hands. He's sorry he got caught. There's a difference. Gloria's nostrils flared. You're overreacting. You're ruining this family. I didn't ruin anything, I said evenly. Your son did that all by himself. She turned to Andrew as if cueing him to speak. He didn't. When she realized I wouldn't crumble, her tone shifted syrupy sweet. Vicky, dear, you've always been the practical one. Think about your reputation. You don't want to be one of those bitter divorcees, do you? I smiled faintly. I'd rather be divorced than disrespected. Gloria's eyes flashed. You're making a huge mistake. No one will ever love a woman who humiliates her husband in public. I stood closing my laptop. I'm not looking for love, Gloria. Just peace. That made her pause just long enough for me to notice how much control she'd lost. She'd always been the voice in Andrew's ear, the one who excused his arrogance, who told him that Vicky's too serious whenever he flirted too openly at family gatherings. She grabbed her purse, muttering, We'll see what the world thinks when they hear your side of the story. Make sure you tell it accurately, I said softly. Include the affair, the screenshots, and the anniversary dinner. People like complete stories. Andrew finally spoke. Vicky, please, we can talk about this. I stared at him for a long moment. Talk about what? The woman you cheated with. The bonus you planned to collect before leaving me, or the way you smiled at me across the table while lying through your teeth. He had no words, just shame or maybe fear. Goodbye, Andrew. 2 days later, my lawyer emailed me. The preliminary divorce papers were filed successfully. Legal, clean, airtight. That night, as I sat on my balcony, I received a text from Michael. She showed up crying at my door. I let her explain. She said Andrew promised to leave you as soon as the money was safe. You might want to prepare for a PR storm. Gloria's already posting about it. I opened my social media. Sure enough, Gloria had written a long, tragic post about how her ungrateful daughter-in-law abandoned her loving husband after years of sacrifice. The comments were full of sympathy. Poor Andrew. How could she? Money changes people. I didn't comment. Not yet. I wanted the silence to ferment. The next morning, Bianca texted me for the first time. Please don't destroy my reputation. I know I did something wrong, but I still have a career. I reread her message 3 times before replying. You destroyed it yourself, Bianca. I just stopped hiding it. She didn't respond. Later that day, Michael called again. We met at a quiet cafe near the courthouse. He looked exhausted but calm, holding a folder. Here, he said, sliding it across the table. Inside were printouts, messages between Andrew and Bianca, plans to open a joint account, sell Andrew's car, even lists of furniture they'd buy for their new place. I exhaled slowly. You kept everything. He nodded. I figured you'd want it, just in case his lawyer tries to twist the story. Our hands brushed when I took the folder. It wasn't romantic, just human, the kind of quiet solidarity you find in shared betrayal. When we parted ways, he said Gloria won't stop. She's obsessed with controlling the narrative. I know, I said. She always has been. That evening, I got another call from Gloria. You think you've won, don't you? She hissed. There's nothing to win, I said. Just lessons to learn. You'll regret this, Vicky. I smiled to myself as I ended the call. I already regret marrying your son. But even as I said it, I knew the story wasn't over. Gloria's threats weren't just talk, and deep down I could sense she was about to make things far messier than Andrew ever could. It started on a quiet Sunday morning, the kind that should have been peaceful. I was halfway through my coffee when my phone began buzzing nonstop. Notifications, tags, messages. Dozens of them. Gloria had done it. She posted a long, emotional essay on Facebook with a photo of Andrew looking heartbroken in their living room. The caption read, Some women destroy their families out of greed and pride. My son loved his wife, gave her everything, and she repaid him with cruelty. Pray for him, everyone. Divorce can break even the best souls. The comment section was a swarm. Men like Andrew don't deserve that. Vicky sounds like a gold digger. She'll regret leaving a good man. And of course, Gloria had conveniently left out the reason for the divorce, Andrew's affair with Bianca. I didn't respond right away. Instead, I scrolled quietly, saving screenshots of every comment. My lawyer had warned me, don't react emotionally. Let them talk first, then you decide what to burn. That night, Andrew texted me for the first time since the dinner. Andrew, Mom's just trying to protect me. Don't make it worse. Me. You mean don't tell the truth, Andrew. You've done enough damage. Everyone thinks I cheated because of your post. Me. I haven't posted anything, Andrew, yet. He didn't reply. By the next morning, Gloria's post had hit 5,000 shares in our small city. Friends, coworkers, even distant relatives had opinions. Then came my turn. I wrote one simple comment beneath Gloria's post. Interesting story, Gloria. Maybe mention the part where your son cheated for 3 months with his coworker Bianca Rivera while planning to leave me after collecting his annual bonus. I have screenshots if anyone's curious. Within minutes, the thread exploded. People who'd once pitied Andrew suddenly grew very quiet. A few even replied, "Wait, wasn't Bianca engaged to Michael Ross? I remember their dinner photos. Vicky was there. Oh my God, this is messy." Someone tagged Bianca. She didn't respond, but Michael did. It's true, I was the fiancé. Vicky told the truth. And just like that, Gloria's post vanished. Deleted. That afternoon, Bianca showed up at my office, not storming, pleading. Her hair was messy, her eyes swollen. "Vicky, please," she said, her voice trembling. "You don't understand what you're doing. I could lose my job." I looked at her, remembering every smug smirk she'd flashed across the dinner table. "You already lost your integrity. The rest is just paperwork." Tears filled her eyes. "Andrew said he was leaving you. He told me it was over. I didn't mean for it to go this far." I exhaled slowly. "He told me the same thing about you. That's the problem with liars, Bianca. They recycle lines." She tried to speak, but her phone buzzed. A message from Michael. I caught a glimpse before she turned the screen away. "HR wants to meet tomorrow morning. You should probably lawyer up." Her breath hitched. "You told them?" I shook my head. "No, Michael did. Actions have consequences." She left without another word. Later that evening, I found myself scrolling through Andrew's social media. He'd posted an image of a sunset with the caption, "Even good hearts can break." The comments were filled with women comforting him, calling him brave, misunderstood. The performance was almost admirable. Almost. Then a comment appeared from Michael. "Brave, you cheated with my fiancé. Sit this one out, man." The post was deleted within the hour, but not before screenshots spread like wildfire. By nightfall, Andrew's friends started distancing themselves. His professional page, he was a project manager, quietly changed status from team lead to independent consultant. Translation: he'd been let go. I received one more message that night from Michael again. "Bianca's company opened an internal review. HR found your screenshots online. She might get suspended. I know this is messy, but thank you." I stared at that text for a while. Gratitude felt strange. I hadn't sought revenge, I'd only told the truth. But truth in this world cuts deeper than any lie. Days passed. The noise online began to fade. And then one night, I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. Unknown. "Please stop. You've already ruined everything." Me. Who is this unknown Bianca? I almost didn't reply, but then I did. "Me, you did that yourself, Bianca. I just stopped covering for you." No response came. But I imagined her sitting somewhere, scrolling through the same screenshots, realizing that every secret she and Andrew whispered had turned into her undoing. The next morning, Gloria posted again this time, cryptic, desperate. "Family is family no matter what happens. Some people just can't forgive." I didn't take the bait. I'd learned something new. Silence hurts more than shouting. Still that night, as I stood on my balcony, watching the city lights blur below, a thought hit me like static in the air. This wasn't over. Not yet. Because people like Gloria don't retreat, they regroup. And Andrew, he wasn't done playing victim. I could feel another storm coming. The storm hit a week later in the form of a pale blue envelope delivered to my office. It wasn't a letter, it was a lawsuit. Emergency spousal support hearing it read. Filed by Andrew Hottinger. Representation Caroline Whitmore. Gloria's old friend who'd once bragged about winning cases on sympathy. I almost laughed. Of course, Gloria had weaponized the courts. My lawyer, Alicia, met me that afternoon. "They're claiming emotional distress and financial manipulation," she said, skimming through the document. "Apparently you orchestrated the discovery of his affair to inflict maximum damage." I raised an eyebrow. "So, I forced him to cheat." Alicia smirked. "That's essentially what they're arguing." The courtroom was small, cold, and smelled faintly of old carpet and perfume. Andrew sat across the aisle wearing his best suit, his innocent husband costume. Gloria was in the front row, pearls gleaming like ammunition. When the judge entered, everyone stood. Andrew's lawyer launched into a speech about heartbreak and betrayal, painting me as a calculating, vengeful woman who used her husband's moment of weakness to destroy him publicly. I didn't flinch. Instead, I looked directly at Andrew. He couldn't meet my eyes. When it was Alicia's turn, her voice was sharp and precise. Your Honor, Mr. Hottinger is not destitute. He earns a steady salary of $82,000 a year and has no dependents. My client withdrew half of their joint savings, her legal right, and has presented full documentation of the affair that ended their marriage. This isn't emotional abuse, it's accountability. The judge leaned back, unimpressed. Mr. Hottinger, your attorney is suggesting this affair was somehow your wife's fault. Andrew's lawyer hesitated. Not fault, Your Honor. Just emotionally driven circumstances. The judge blinked. You mean he cheated? Yes, but then what are we doing here? Silence. Gloria's face flushed red like she'd swallowed her own fury. The judge turned to me. Mrs. Hottinger, did you withdraw more than your share of the joint assets? No, Your Honor. Exactly half. He nodded. Case dismissed. Next time, Mr. Hottinger, try to solve your personal problems outside my courtroom. Bang of the gavel. Done. Outside, the hallway buzzed with whispers from other attendees, lawyers, strangers. Gloria stormed toward me, heels clacking like gunfire. You think this is funny? She spat. I met her gaze. Not funny, Gloria. Just fair. She jabbed a manicured finger at me. You've humiliated my family. You'll regret this. No, I said softly. Andrew will. You just keep enabling him. She opened her mouth, but I walked away before she could answer. Behind me, I heard Andrew mutter, Mom, just stop. That was new. He'd never told her that before. For a brief second, I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. That evening, I sat on my balcony again, wine glass in hand, city lights flickering below. My phone buzzed a message from Michael. Bianca got suspended today. HR found her work emails to Andrew. She's blaming him now. Karma's working overtime. I smiled faintly. Good, I typed back. Then deleted the message. Some victories didn't need witnesses. But the satisfaction didn't last long. A few hours later, Andrew called. I shouldn't have answered, but I did. Vicky, he said, his voice low, trembling. You won okay. I lost everything. My job. Bianca. My reputation. Are you happy? I stared out into the night. No, I'm not happy, but I am free. He scoffed bitterly. You think freedom feels better than love? I hesitated. Love without respect isn't love, Andrew. It's dependency. There was a long pause, then a faint sound like a choked laugh. You always were good with words. Goodbye, Andrew. Vicky. Click. 2 days later, a bouquet of lilies arrived at my office with a card that read, For what it's worth, I did love you once. I stared at them for a while before tossing them into the trash. Lily's funeral flowers. How poetic. That weekend, I met with Alicia to finalize some paperwork. As we wrapped up, she said, You know, most people would have lost control somewhere along the way. You didn't. I smiled faintly. That's because I lost him instead. She chuckled softly. You're handling this well. Handling it, I repeated. Not healing yet. But that night, I had a dream. I was back at the dinner table, the wine, the flickering candles, the sound of Andrew's voice saying, I'm in love with someone else. Except this time I laughed. Because even in my subconscious, I'd stopped giving him power. When I woke up, I felt lighter. But something inside me whispered Gloria wasn't done. And when people like her feel powerless, they look for new ways to wound. I just didn't expect the next attempt would come from Andrew himself. It started with a Venmo request. $500. Emotional damages and half of our bills. At first, I thought it was a joke, but then came the text, Andrew, you can't just leave me with all the rent and car payments. Be reasonable. Me. I already paid my half. You made your choices. Live with them. He replied instantly. You don't have to be cruel, Vicky. I stared at the message for a long time before typing back. Neither did you. The next week was a carousel of absurdity. Andrew called at odd hours, sometimes angry, sometimes weeping. One night he slurred through the phone, clearly drunk. You ruined me, he said. Everyone thinks I'm a monster. You cheated on your wife, Andrew, I said quietly. That's not a rumor. That's a fact. He went silent, then whispered, I just wanted someone to see me. My jaw tightened. You mean someone other than me? He hung up. 2 days later, Gloria called. Her tone was sugar-coated venom. Vicky, dear, can't you help him a little? He's struggling. I'm aware, I said flatly. That's called consequences. She gasped. Don't you dare talk to me like that. You were his wife. Your vows mean something. They did, I said, until he broke them. She switched tactics. He's still your responsibility. Be a decent woman. Being decent is what got me betrayed, I replied, and ended the call. By the end of that week, Andrew's life was unraveling. Bianca had blocked him. His company had terminated him after an HR complaint. Apparently, Bianca's messages had circulated through the office. Now he was jobless, single, and living with his mother. I should have felt satisfied. Instead, I felt nothing. That changed one night when he showed up at my apartment. I hadn't seen him in person since the dinner. He looked hollow eyes, bloodshot, the confident man I'd married stripped away. "Vicky, please," he said, voice cracking. "I just need to talk." I kept the chain on the door. "There's nothing left to talk about." "She left me," he whispered. "Bianca. She said I was bad luck." "That's the most honest thing she's ever said." His eyes flashed with anger. "You always think you're so perfect." "No," I said. "I just stopped pretending everything was fine when it wasn't." He took a shaky breath. "I made a mistake. One mistake." "Really?" "Because my lawyer counted 92 times you told her you loved her in those texts." He winced. "You counted?" "I didn't," I said coldly. "My lawyer did. For the evidence list." He stepped back like I'd hit him. "You've turned into someone else. Someone who stopped being your victim," I said. I closed the door. His muffled voice lingered for a second, then faded down the hall. A week later, he tried again, this time a desperate call at midnight. "Vicky, I need you to listen," he said. I think you deserve to know. I might have gotten Bianca pregnant." I froze. My stomach twisted for exactly 2 seconds, then logic clicked in. "No, you didn't." He hesitated. "You don't know that." "Yes, I do," I said. "Because she was still messaging Michael the week after the dinner, and she told him she hadn't seen you since." He forwarded me the screenshots. Silence. Then he said softly, "You've been keeping tabs on us." I let out a dry laugh. "No, Andrew. The truth just has a way of finding me." He tried another tactic. What if we start over?" That stunned me into silence. "You're joking." "I'm serious," he said, voice trembling. "We can rebuild. I'll prove it to you. I can change." I could almost hear Gloria in his words, her endless belief that everything could be reset with a well-timed apology. "Andrew," I said softly, "you can't rebuild on ashes." He began to cry. "You don't have to forgive me. Just talk to me. I can't sleep. I see you everywhere." I closed my eyes, gripping the phone tightly. "That's called guilt. Let it keep you company." Then I hung up. The following morning, I received another Venmo notification. $1, I miss you. For the first time in weeks, I laughed. Not out of cruelty, but relief. It was the absurdity of it all. So I sent one back, $1, for the bus. Stop contacting me. Seconds later, a response returned payment. "I don't need your pity." I kept the dollar anyway. Not for the money, for the symbolism. That night, I sat by my window watching headlights glide down the street like ghost memories. I thought about everything, the affair, the lies, the courtroom, the texts, the constant noise. And for the first time, I realized the silence wasn't empty, it was peace. I poured myself another glass of wine and whispered to no one. He finally fell without me catching him. But I had no idea that his fall would keep echoing through both our lives for months to come. It's been a month since the court finalized the divorce. The papers came in a plain white envelope, thin as the weight I'd been carrying for years. When I signed the last page, it didn't feel like victory. It felt like exhaling after holding my breath too long. Andrew kept his car, his half of the savings, $23,000, and all the debt I didn't know existed. Apparently, he'd been living on credit for months. I kept my apartment, my salary, and the quiet that used to scare me. Peace is a strange thing. It doesn't announce itself. It just sits with you, waiting to be noticed. A week after the papers came through, I got a text from Michael Ross. Bianca and I got back together. I know how that sounds. She swore she's changed. I stared at the message for a long time, then replied, "You don't owe me an explanation. Some people need to repeat the same mistakes before they learn from them." He never replied. But 3 days later, a wedding invitation arrived in the mail. Their names in gold foil, Michael and Bianca Rivera. There was a handwritten note on the bottom, "Would love for you to come. No hard feelings." I almost laughed. Hard feelings. There weren't any left, just a dull ache where my trust used to live. Still, I sent a gift, a digital photo frame. Inside it, one image, a screenshot of Bianca's first message to Andrew. "Can't wait to hold you again. Petty maybe. Worth it, absolutely." Gloria called a few days later. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. Her tone was brittle, like she'd rehearsed every word. "Vicky, I hope you're satisfied. Andrew's been miserable. He had to move back in with us." "I figured," I said quietly. "He's not the same. You broke him." I took a slow breath. "No, Gloria. He broke himself. I just stopped catching him." "You're cruel." "Cruel," I repeated softly, "is cheating for months while pretending to love someone. I simply chose not to pretend anymore. She started to say something else, but I ended the call. 10 minutes later, Robert, her husband, texted me privately. Between you and me, you did the right thing. Maybe this will finally make him grow up. Gloria's babying him was half the problem. I smiled a small, tired smile. Robert had always been decent, just too quiet to be heard over his wife's thunder. Life slowly found its rhythm again. I started therapy. My therapist, Dr. Lee, was gentle but sharp. She asked me once, "Do you want revenge or do you want peace?" I thought about it. I used to think they were the same thing. She smiled. They're not. Revenge wants an audience. Peace doesn't need one. That stuck with me. I began jogging again, cooking for one, redecorating the apartment. Little things that made it mine. For the first time, I didn't have to compromise on colors, schedules, or moods. Freedom, I learned, wasn't loud. It was quiet mornings, clean sheets, and not having to second-guess your own instincts. Still, the universe has a dark sense of humor. A month later, I received another Venmo notification. $25 for the coffee maker you kept. I declined it immediately. Then another, $100 for emotional labor. Declined. Then finally one last one. $1. I miss you. This time I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. So I sent him $1 back with a note. For the bus. Stop contacting me. He returned it with a final message. I don't need your pity. I kept the dollar anyway. A souvenir of closure. A few days later, Gloria messaged me on Facebook. If you were a real woman, you'd help him. He's struggling. Be the bigger person. I replied. A real woman did help him. For 7 years. He just mistook my patience for permission. Then I blocked her. I used to think revenge had to be grand, dramatic, public, poetic. But it turns out the best revenge is simply letting someone face life without your protection. Andrew wanted excitement. He got it. He wanted freedom. He got that too, just not the kind he imagined. As for me, I'm not thriving. Not yet. But I'm good. Good is enough for now. Sometimes I still catch myself remembering small things, how he used to hum while brushing his teeth, how he'd grab my hand at crosswalks without thinking. But memories are just ghosts. They can't hurt you if you stop inviting them in. I'm learning to let them fade one by one. Last week I walked past the restaurant where it all started. Same table, same flickering candlelight. Only this time I didn't feel bitterness. Just gratitude for the lesson, for the freedom, for finally knowing my worth. I left a note on a napkin before I walked out. To whoever sits here next, don't ignore the red flags. They don't turn green. And that was it. No tears, no turning back.